right, if you just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for today. Prominent Nigerian civil society figures, including Professor Chidi Odinkalu, Professor Adele Jinadu, and Richard Akinola, have raised alarms over what they perceive as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's attempts to establish a one-party state. They argue that recent political developments, such as mass defections from opposition parties to the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), suggest a deliberate strategy to weaken democratic opposition and consolidate power. These leaders emphasize that a vibrant democracy requires a robust and independent opposition. They warn that the erosion of opposition parties undermine democratic checks and balances, potentially leading Nigeria towards authoritarianism. The civil society advocates call on Nigerians to remain vigilant and resist any moves that threaten the country's democratic foundation. The statements come amid increasing concerns about the state of democracy in Nigeria, with critics pointing to actions by the current administration that may stifle dissent and limit political pluralism. The civil society leaders urge citizens to actively participate in safeguarding democratic principles and ensuring that power remains accountable to the people. I still have with me Barrister Evans Ofele. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for hanging on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. Truly do appreciate your time once more. Let's get talking on this particular matter. It's very obvious, you would agree with me, that we're moving towards a one-party state capture. But of course, the ruling party are consistently stating that they have no business in state capture or having a one-party state for Nigeria, that rather it is the opposition that is or have refused to do a good enough job putting their acts together. Do you want to agree with this submission from the ruling party?
I agree with what the APC agree with that, because the members of the PDP who are supposed to stand their ground and make a formidable opposition have failed to do that. They have failed to do that, and instead of them to oppose or form a viable opposition, they are rather jumping ship from their political party to the APC. There is no organization under the earth that don't have problems, disputes, and squabbles. There's none. I mean, just like you have disputes in the PDP, the same way you have it in the APC. Okay, the reason that of the APC is not very glaring is because they are in power right now. Okay, but when they were in opposition, they actually formed a formidable opposition. It was that opposition they used to weaken, the party in power, then the PDP. Today, the PDP has presently constituted. Could you believe that they were in power for 16 years? That they held sway for 16 years. They even boasted that they will be there for 60 years. But the way they have degenerated today, the way they have turned themselves against themselves, will you believe that, some years back, they were actually in power? So they are right, the APC, they are right. It is not that the president is pushing for state capture or is pushing Nigeria to a situation of a one-party state. No. It is that the parties in opposition, not just PDP now, the parties, all of them, Labour Party, all those parties in opposition, all of them, put together, they have failed to do the work of the opposition. Okay? When PDP newly lost election at the center in 2014, 2015, when they started as opposition, they had good hands in the opposition then. They had, what's his name, this lawyer, and that was charged with Dasuki sometime.
Okay.
Yes. He was, the spokesman of the party.
Yes.
Then you now have Olagodia, this other man, who became the spokesperson of the party again, ever since the existence of those two, the PDP have lost, the capacity suddenly to hold the government in power for account. They've left it for journalists and the general public. So the journalists and the public, there's little they can do to hold the government in power accountable for you. You as a political party that is organized and regimented, with structure, with office and all that, should have handled your own crisis. Quell it, resolve it, and then face the opposition, swell it, just like they did when you were in power. Lai Mohammed was used then with different kind of propaganda that almost, crumbled the PDP midway into the administration then. That is what we expect from the PDP. But unfortunately, many of their governors that have stolen money, many of their governors that are corrupt, that have used corrupt tendencies to embezzle a lot of money, have handed over to their godson, like Okowa. Like Okowa that embezzled 1.3 trillion. 1.3 trillion is what he embezzled by joining forces with Atiku to chase a white elephant useless political project that crumbled upon them, and they were not able to have a head. You can imagine spending, if not for foolishness, you can imagine spending 1.3 trillion to follow Atiku that have no political capital. How do you do that kind of mistake? Are you the only one in the state? If you are even spending that money to join forces with someone that resonates in the minds of people, politically speaking, you are doing that with Atiku to mortgage the future of Delta State. That shows how wicked, how insensitive our leaders are. Someone like Okowa who could not provide the necessaries for Ndokwa, even when it's from Delta North, left all those margin of lacuna and lack of preparedness and performance, took Delta State resources for that nonsense. Okay, I find it rather very disconcerting. How do you do that? This is even against the backdrop of the resolution that the PDP reached, that power should come to the South, which is also in the PDP constitution. The same meeting was held in Asaba. That's about declaration. You were the host governor, and you could do that. So, see, part of the problem we have now with PDP was created by Okowa. The reason even PDP cannot even hold itself together was because of Okowa. Because Wike became disenchanted. It was that decision that made Wike to fix his gaze at the APC, even though he was in the PDP, and started supporting the APC. It was that betrayal. It was a devastating blow to the PDP. And today, he's there now, smiling and championing an exodus of defection of entire state leadership to the APC. And people are watching, people are looking at him. He's acting like there will be no consequences for this. The constituent that you claim to represent, you disregard them and then move ship, even when you are a foundational member of the PDP. That man cannot be trusted. So he's the one misleading Delta State.
Yes, but Barbarisa, you will agree with me that politics is a game of interest, and what Okowa did was basically following suit with what politics has detailed that any politician can do. But do you think that his defection would have been taken care of if he did not? How would he have saved the situation, knowing that your allegation that he stole 1.3 trillion naira was true? Let's assume it is true. How would he have saved himself and still maintain PDP, which is the only credible opposition we have today in Nigeria?
Why should he save himself? Why should he steal and save himself? He should focus. He should face the consequences of that action. Okay, he should face the consequences. He should not go on down the destabilizing his own political party. That is a party that made him. That party made him a commissioner. That party made him a senator. That party made him all he is today. And that's the same party they went under to destabilize. Okay? Why can't he come together with Wike and others to form a formidable opposition? Or why can't he put heads together with other? Not because he has skeleton in his cupboard, he cannot do that. The moment he is seen as vibrant opposition, the ESPC will take on his matter and they will make it very serious. So he cannot do that. He's completely paralyzed politically. Then this is what he responds to. I know politics about interest, but I'm saying that the interest, whatsoever it is, if it is criminal liability and prosecution must follow thereafter, irrespective of how long it takes. Because now he feels he has succeeded, just like Akpabio. And the other governors that are going to retire to the National Assembly. Okay? He thinks he's now safe. But that's not the case. The PDP failed woefully in managing opposition. That's political science of opposition. They have failed to constitute it, to entrench it, and to use it to resuscitate PDP, to bring PDP back to life. They are not able to manage it. So now, it's about politics of self. How will I survive this? How will I come back my second term? How will I hold on to power and entrench it? When I'm done, who do I hand over to? Who will also safeguard my back? Who I can also say, come, let's defect to this political party so that they don't probe us. So it's just about self, and self. And when the ideology of a political party becomes about self, you know that the people will suffer. The people will suffer and that political party will die natural death. Because the collective aspiration and vision of the party is not what is being followed, but individual aspirations, hope and aspiration. That is what is being followed. At the end of the day, nothing good can come out from such discord in terms of ideology, vision, and the politics of the human person.
Yes, Barrister, you will agree with me that history, some say, is repetitive. And what you see happening today with the APC, everyone moving towards the APC, was once experienced during the PDP. There used to be a time when PDP was at its highest, everyone moved towards the PDP. I guess it was only Lagos with AD that was really strong as an opposition. So do you not see a reputation of what happened back in the days happening to the APC, which might create the fracas that would equally divide the APC? Because with the quasi opposition moving towards the APC, of course, we would possibly see an implosion. Don't you think so?
Nothing is selfless in this whole arrangement. APC too, if they are not in power, I don't think they can be this formidable. Though when they were not in power at the center, they were in power in Lagos and in some states. And because Bola Tinubu was very committed and very resolute with that political party. There was a time when during the AD, he was the only governor.
Yeah.
When PDP had swept the entire Southwest, and he stood with all the opposition. He stood. So you need someone like that in the PDP.
And Atiku is not the person.
Atiku is not the person. How many times have Atiku left PDP to go and look for how to become president in another political party? That is who Atiku should have become. The rallying point, the formidable block of the PDP, wherein even though the chips are down, he will stand his ground. That's only what Tinubu did. And that's what made APC victorious today. The PDP have no such kind of person who, against all odds, can stand his ground politically and face all opposition. You know how many times Bola Tinubu was prosecuted, was charged for different offenses? He stood his ground in all. Even when some of them were just pure witch hunt, he stood his ground. So the PDP need that kind of person. Atiku is an opportunist. First, he does not even live in Nigeria. Second, he doesn't believe in Nigeria. The third one is the one that is, I find very ridiculous. But people say it's from Cameroon.
Well, it's actually from Adamawa State. It's actually from
that one is ridiculous. He's a Nigerian. But he does not have the stamina of a Bola Tinubu, who against all odds will stand his ground and ensure that the party survives every kind of attack and opposition and crisis. Today, because of that resolution, every governor, more of them will join the APC. By the time we get to election period, by 2027, I don't know how many governors will remain in PDP. I'm telling you. The whole political system can turn around into one party system, not by the making of the PDP, but by the failings of, not by the making of the APC, but by the failings of the PDP. Let me repeat that statement again.
Yes.
Let me repeat that statement again.
Okay, please do.
That between now and when election is going to take place in 2027, it is possible that many governors will pull out from PDP to join the APC. Not by the makings of the APC, but by the failings of the PDP.
But Barrister, some political pundits have concluded, of course, have stated from experience that 24 hours is not small. It's a very long time for anything to happen in politics.
In politics.
Yes. So do you see maybe a counter to what you have alluded now, that it's possible come 2027, lots of PDP governors might pull out to the APC, given the 24 hours postulate?
Yeah, you can only have such kind of counter narrative if you have people in the PDP currently that are resolute. You understand? This thing that happened, the PDP have issued a statement. How formidable is that statement? How many times have you seen them call for a meeting to rectify the problem bedeviling the party as we speak? As we speak, they have a problem with who is the secretary and who is not the secretary. So a party that is going to wage against this thing that's happening, against their party, by now they should have gone to work. Because as much as you have a lot of governors in the APC that are criminals or that have criminal tendencies, they will look for a safe haven that will not only return them to power in 2027, but that will help them to project. So when they start to move, They are not moving because of the makings of the APC, but they'll be moving because of the failings of the PDP. Because the leadership of PDP as a political party is not strong. It's wavering. It does not have the pangs to discipline party members and to warn them against anti-party tendencies and behavior. So, no fines, no penalty, no serious reprimands. So what you have is anyone or everyone doing exactly what they like. You don't have a leadership in that party. I would not have spoken this way if there's a leadership of the party. The only thing that Saraki said is that PDP will still flourish. PDP will still move on that. What happened in Delta State is not an issue, that the party will still succeed. But people like Saraki, they're supposed to be as strong as, having been in the party for that long, to be as strong as Tinubu stood for his party. But what do you get? Atiku, Saraki, and the other oldies in the party, they are not politically strong enough. They too have the tendency to defect to APC. They have not just seen the right offer, or the right promises have not been made to them. If the right promises is made to them, and they look at the cost politically, and they see they're going to make more money, they're going to have more value, they will pull out from that PDP. In other words, those who are saying PDP, despite what has happened, will still fly high. Those persons, if they had the opportunity that Sheriff and the rest of them had, they too will pull out from the party. So yes. You don't only have those who have a strong resolution for the survival of PDP.
Yes, Barrister, it's very, very true. Everything you stated here, especially the submission you gave to some of the political, big shots, hopefully might move to the next party if the right agreement is met. But 2027 would be a contest between Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC and Nigerians who are going through so much in their lives. I'd love to give you a very classical example. In Ghana, John Mahama was the underdog in the last election that was held there. NDC was clearly an underdog. NPP, which Bawumia, the vice president who contested, was really very, very strong, as what the APC is today. But because the people of Ghana did not want the NPP, they all rallied around the NDC, even when John Mahama was clearly an underdog. And of course today, John Mahama is the president of Ghana. So don't you think we would see a repeat where Nigerians who are going through so much would rally around whatever party and ensure that APC goes out? Don't you see that happening?
No, I have a problem with, I agree with your premise, but I have a problem with your conclusion. I have a problem with your conclusion, and I have a problem with the general comparison of the politics of Nigeria and that of Ghana. In Ghana, they have an umpire. In Nigeria, there's no umpire. In Ghana, it's possible for the people's voice to be heard loud and clear. When the people go against you, you will lose. In Nigeria, when the people go against you, you will not necessarily lose. You may not necessarily lose. So it's a different political environment. And the political temperature here is that even those moving against the president are intercepted with vote buying on the way, and they will switch allegiance overnight. It's not the case in Ghana. And when you look at the population The terrain in Nigeria and the terrain in Ghana, they are different. The kind of religious ethnic propensity in Nigeria, where Kano will be returning how many million, 16 million, 18 million votes.
They actually turned out 2 million votes in the last election.
Okay, 2 million. I mean, I'm talking about Buhari's election.
Okay, yeah. They did more than that, actually.
Yes, you look at the general political culture in certain region where you have child voting, insurgency, intercepting, ballot box snatching, vote buying, gratification. Those variables affect outcomes. So if you compare Ghana and Nigeria, there are so many variables, so many factors we'll be leaving out. Except we're saying, assuming but not considering that all those factors do not exist in Nigeria and same do not exist in Ghana. And we're looking at it on merits, or we're doing a political projection or a pool. Because pool, you don't read pool. And pool they don't have any ethnic coloration. Okay, yeah. In the circumstances you had in Lagos during the election where some tribes are not allowed to vote, do we have that in Ghana? Do we have some of those proclivities, those, ingrained political sophistry? Do we have it there? If we have it, you cannot make such comparison and we will see similarities. But these two countries are world apart. So the people, the last election, the people were sympathetic. The P2B.
Yeah.
The people moved for him, just like they moved for Mahama.
Yes.
In Ghana, the Ghanaians succeeded. Did we succeed here? We didn't. Even when we know that P2B won that election. Even with all the gymnastics they did, it still has 16 million votes.
6 million.
That's after all the abracadabra, even with INEC, all collusion and everything. And that 16 million votes were organic votes.
6 million rather. 6 million.
Sorry.
6 million plus.
That 6 million vote was organic vote. P2B was not paying anybody, buying any vote. That 6 million was organic. So I imagine if INEC were neutral, you understand? So that's why we cannot make that comparison.
It's actually a very sad one, actually. We truly do hope things will work out for us in the country come 2027. And opposition is actually very critical to the definition of democracy. We wouldn't want a situation where Nigeria will be referred to as a brother to Russia, where one political party is on the spot of everything and winning everything, obviously. We sincerely hope that things will get better as we approach 2027. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for being here. We truly do appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, have yourself a wonderful time once more. And people, that's just the time we have for you. I would love to say thank you for being part of it. Please do well to visit us. You can always find us at enterprisecvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I'm Henry Gwebike. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.